Hey, Tuss. What are we doing today? Check out here the today.md file. I'm going to put some of the usual normal music. There we go. Okay. So the plan today is I'm taking a look at the RFC for iCalendar. And then after that, I'm going to, later on, I'm going to do something with Andrew where we're going to add Subarenas because I pointed out that, well, why don't we have Subarenas? I think that could be nice. That was during a ZSF meeting, and some other people agreed in the call. So it wasn't just like my hallucination, my idea. And so there seemed to be some consensus around it, some interest. So we're looking into adding that as a feature. Okay, so let me announce this. Hey, Nat Walker. Hello. Maybe we could also have a short detour before we start. Hey, X2. Hello. So, yeah, I should go make myself some tea. That is for sure. Um, that is certainly one thing that I want to do. Okay, let's see. Have you got a chance to look at my PR yet? I think I saw that there are a couple PRs. I don't remember which one is yours, unless they're both yours. Uh, yeah, add string. So yeah, I can give you some feedback. So I'm not ready to merge these yet. Sorry, I'm gonna take a bit of time to like cool down and think about things before keep merging. This is probably like it's not particularly controversial what you're doing with this PR. So how can I say? Like apologies for delaying. I'm actually counting on the fact that if this is blocking you, since you were able to implement it, I'm guessing you're also able to like redirect everything to your branch, to your fork, so that you can like unblock yourself if this is a blocker for you. So I'm counting on that. But also, so let me tell you what my reasoning is here. So there is, I guess, a bigger question of whether the coercion, like the transformation, whatever you want to call it, to string is something that we want to have happen explicitly versus having functions accept different types. So, for example, one example of that is FMT. Yeah. Should you be able to pass numbers to FMT? I would argue yes. So it's more like, I think that FMT should be able to accept different types rather than you having this ability. That said, there might be other situations where you want that conversion to happen. And so having the function is not a bad idea. The problem is I'm like, I feel like I want to spend a little bit of time to think about which direction I want to go, rather than just blindly go down one path. Because on one end, we obviously want flexibility. We don't want to be in a situation where something could almost be done. It's like you're just missing one tiny bit of functionality to make that happen. Well, like in this case, right? FMT doesn't accept numbers. It's so freaking annoying, right? That you're almost there, but you just can't. While on the other hand, there are certainly some kinds of things that we do want to add friction to. So, for example, for now, I am convinced that having a unwrap operator is a bad idea. I don't want to have an unwrap operator. So I think it's better to have two variants of functions, one that returns something that asserts that something is present, and one that returns an optional, so that you can then unwrap it. But then if you do the optional stuff, then you have to unwrap it. You can't just like error out. And sometimes not giving the user one of the two variants is a good idea, because sometimes certain things should not be something that you can like taper on over, like for example, I don't know, I'll make an extreme example. Like you're trying to access localization information, but you're in a simple website. So a website that does not have multilingual support enabled. And so you're trying to access language information, local information. That should be a hard error. That should not be something that can become like an optional in case you are not in a multilingual website. That's a bad idea. Or rather, that's an extra bit of flexibility that is very minimal flexibility. Almost nobody would need that. Probably today, there is not a single person on the planet that would need that. Maybe in the future there will be, I don't know. But then that comes with like the potential for extra jankiness. So this is why, for example, I want errors to be not recoverable in Scripty, and optionals to be something that you can't just unwrap. That unwrapping should always come with some like ceremony to it, in a sense, to force you to deal with that fact. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to be the right way TM, but for now, that's the direction that I want to go towards, and that I think it's most promising. So when it comes to changing things to string, I'm not 100% sure that should be the main way. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we should have a string method to numbers, but also FMT should accept numbers. And finally, here's also where this becomes more like less philosophical and more concrete. There is one big piece of functionality in Zine right now in terms of like the internal mechanics. I don't have a analysis phase of templates. Templates right now are like fully interpreted. There is no pre-analysis that happens. They don't get compiled. It would be nice to have some form of compilation in the future for performance reasons mainly, but also it would be nice to have an analysis phase where the analysis phase like evaluates only once expressions that don't depend on a page, like expressions that basically you can evaluate only once and then you're done, like for the entire build. Also early, detection of errors, because right now, basically every error in a template gets discovered at runtime. And there are errors that we could actually check for earlier. And this brings me to the point that I wanted to make. If you make a type error, right now, that also will be discovered at runtime. It will not be discovered early, although we could totally do that. And the way we could do that is by leveraging this meta information here. Like this signature tells us this function, what type it returns, what type it accepts. And so we could have an analysis phase where we look at this information, hopefully under the assumption that this information is kept correctly in sync with the actual implementation, which is also something that we could facilitate with metaprogramming eventually. But in any case, by looking at this stuff, we could then try to do like fancy stuff in an analysis phase. Now, here's where things get interesting. I have never done this, or rather, I do analysis for like Markdown, but then it's like, well, it's not the same thing. Like I have never implemented analysis for this kind of language, and so I don't know what the implications would be of having functions that accept string or int. Right now, I don't even have a way of specifying this. Like right now, when you have a function, the things that you put in here are like, I have support for like variadic functions, like a variadic number of arguments. I have support for, I don't know, like accepting any and returning any, but I don't have like int, like string or int. I don't have this concept. I haven't modeled it yet. And I don't know what the like complexity implications would be of doing that. So probably it's fine. Probably could totally work. Probably it's not a bad idea. But right now I don't have this. I don't have this infrastructure, and basically, at some point I need to basically start this mini project and add proper analysis to templates, so that you can get like semantic errors, type errors early before the code runs, at least for stuff that we can analyze statically, which is in any case like a lot of stuff anyway, because right now the only thing that is not fully static is pretty much only accessing like JSON documents and the custom field. Everything else is pretty much statically typed. So we could totally be able to understand if the types make sense or not. So, sorry, this was a very roundabout way of saying, yeah, this seems reasonable. Just, sorry, give me a bit of time. I need to think about it because of all these other implications. I would say the chances are that this is not a bad idea. Probably having also FMT accept different types is not a bad idea. I don't know. Need some time to mull it over. That's the idea. Okay. So, what are we doing today? So here's what we're doing today. Two things. One, I want to take a look at the iCalendar file format because I want to. So Zig Showtime has a calendar, which I have kind of downplayed a little bit too much in the sense that it exists, but then I used to link to it in the newsletter, but now I actually didn't update it the last couple of times. I think now I want to bring it back because I think it's not a bad idea to keep up a calendar. I know that it's extra work for me. The reason why I basically was not using it much is because I was trying to simplify, to reduce the amount of work that I need to do to set up a new episode. But, well, it's probably still a good idea to put the extra effort to get that stuff going. But then, regardless, I think that it's not a bad idea to also allow people to add individual events to their calendar if they want to. So maybe they're not ready, they don't want to subscribe to the Zig Showtime calendar in full, but they would be fine with just adding one event to their calendar, maybe. So, or in any case, it doesn't. The idea is if we can adding stuff to the calendar is a manual process. Unless I figure out a way of automating this. Holy shit! If I can find a way of automating this, amazing. In any case, generating an iCalendar invite should be something that we can template using Zine? ? Hopefully. So we'll see. Now, by the way, watch me now. And in the same situation where I also need to format a number inside this freaking file. And it doesn't work. God damn it, we'll see. So yeah, this is the first thing that I'm gonna do. And then later today, which shouldn't be too far from now. I don't know which time Andrew is gonna wake up exactly. But I think we kind of left it off. It should be like an hour from now, more or less. To be honest, we weren't super precise. I didn't press the matter, so it might be 1 hour, it might be 2 hours. I don't know, we'll see. And so when it comes, we're going to add Subarenas to SD heap arena allocator. So we're going to do that. Hey, Loris, random question, but what's your daily driver for a work laptop? I'm in the market for a new one and just curious what people are using. I am using Apple stuff. So what you're looking at right now, it's a Mac Mini. I have a MacBook Air, and they're kind of the same thing. Well, this is an M2. My MacBook Air is still an M1. So it's like the first generation, the fully passive one, first generation Apple Silicon. Personally, I highly recommend it because MacBook Airs are extremely lightweight. Apple Silicon is weirdly powerful. So like you can do, I can promise you can do whatever the heck you want with it. And then you get also the fact that you have access then to 2 OSs. I don't know how much you care about like having access to all the different OSs. But for example, at home, I have Windows. That's what's running OBS right now. I have Mac OS. And then I have Linux in a virtual machine. By the way, this is Mitchell Hashimoto's setup. And guess what? I've updated invalid field. Come on. Oh, this is I have a new fancy history thing that I forgot about. Twin. Wow. Okay, so I also have Ghosty on Linux. So this is Linux running in a virtual machine. And the nice thing about it is that you get all the good things from Linux, like it's actual Linux. So you can target Linux, you can use Linux specific APIs, you can test stuff directly on Linux, you can test stuff on Mac OS, and then, well, for Windows, I have another computer at home. I guess you can't have it all. Or rather, you can have, I guess, Windows in a virtual machine or something, but it's ARM Windows and it sucks. What about FreeBSD? I guess you can have a VM with FreeBSD if you want. Personally, I'm happy with the big three. I think also that generally speaking, like once you support macOS and Linux, you're like 90% there to supporting FreeBSD. So that said, though, I will admit this. Zine right now has an open issue for OpenBSD support. which I guess it's probably, it's like star BSD support. We don't have star BSD support. I'm guessing that both FreeBSD and OpenBSD have KQ, I'm guessing. Isn't macOS just good from FreeBSD and such? Well, it comes from that lineage, but there's a lot of things that have changed in the meantime. So long story short, yeah, to be fair, you can see that I don't use that OS, so it's currently not supported. When you're 90% to supporting FreeBSD, you're 20% to supporting OpenBSD. Oh god. You know what? I don't even know really what the difference is between the two. Like, I mean, in practice, how much they differ. In any case, going back to the question, so the nice thing also here is that this Linux is NixOS, and so my config is in a GitHub repository. And then what I do every time I change something, for example, here I recently upgraded I pulled in the latest changes from Mitchell. So now like a bunch of things have changed. I've updated the version of NixOS and everything else. And but now this is only my repository. So when I take out my my MacBook Air, I will be able to open it, git pull, apply the config, and have the new stuff basically come in a reliable manner, reliable and like a repeatable manner. So it's a pretty decent setup also because it allows me to keep in sync all these things. I don't keep macOS in sync. I guess if I wanted to, I could. I don't really feel the need to do that. I feel like Linux is much more finicky and benefits from committing the config more than macOS does. Although technically, I think I could do the same also for macOS because, well, you can have Nix on macOS, and I even believe that that repository that Mitchell has also works for Nix on macOS. I just don't use it that way myself. I wouldn't count on anything with OpenBSD. I ran it as a daily driver for like a year and a half around the 7.4, 7.6 era. OpenBSD very much goes their own way. I see. Well, in any case, so this is basically my setup. If you search for Mitchell Hashimoto NixOS, you will find that he has a public repository called nixos-config, and with explanations on how to get that set up yourself. And honestly, for me, it's unbeatable. Because you get Linux, but then, oh no, I have Wayland, and now my screen share doesn't work. Not a problem, because your screen share is actually, well, depending on how you want to do it, your screen share can be just one window inside of your macOS OS. So like you basically screen share from the outside of Linux. There's pretty much no downside to doing that. So it's an option, etc. You have a laptop, they support, oh, sorry, that's for mobile folks. Okay, so this is kind of it. So let me go get myself some tea, and then we're gonna start doing this stuff. Now that I think about it, though, here's one thing that I can do. Bork links crashes Bork. So I saw that Andrew was trying to use this the other day, and it regressed a while ago. And I never bothered fixing it because I don't need it anymore. Like when I want to open a link, I can just click the link in Ghosty because we have support for link like escape codes OSC8. So yeah, I never cared about this subcommand anymore. But poor Andrew can't do that. And so yeah, I think I saw him be disappointed by pork links a couple of times already. So maybe we should fix that for him. He's not gonna need it today since we're gonna do pair programming. But the next time he does a stream, then maybe he can have a good time. So this is basically the plan for today, I guess. So let me go get myself some tea, and then we're gonna start. Okay, I'm back. That's a long deep break. No, the microwave functions perfectly. I don't know why it was lower. Okay. Let's get working. So, yay. Yes. Yo. Wait, you mean like in the brain? I mean, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's see how bad it is. So, you know what? There is one question that I have in my mind of whether I should just have AI do this stuff for me. And I still think, like, I did ask Claude to generate one of these files for me. I looked at it. It makes mostly sense. I just, I'm thinking that maybe reading it is worth it because, by the way, reading it in a non-religious manner, I'm not gonna read out loud the entire contents of these things, of this thing. But I think it's a good idea so that I don't get scammed by AI too much. But at the same time, yeah, I do think that probably, using AI acceleration for this type of stuff is not a bad idea. That said, again, how can I say? AI will not necessarily tell me exactly, precisely what it is that I can or cannot do with these things. So, I don't want to get in a situation where I think that something is not possible where it actually is, if only I bother to read the spec, instead of letting one of those chatbots like hallucinate wrong answers, that kind of stuff. Okay. So, or maybe I should also explain what's going on. So, RFC5545, so iCalendar, is basically a way of generating calendar. Should I call them invites? No, calendar events. Yeah, calendar events that you can add to your calendar. Why am I doing this? Because I want to put them here. So I have Zigtoberfest, the website, and my idea is to basically say if this episode is in the future instead of the past, then I will tell you when the episode is going to be in the future, but also I will give you a link to a calendar invite. And also maybe I will attach that calendar invite to the newsletter email, which doesn't seem a bad idea. So we'll see how that goes. In any case. Yeah, add calendar. It's not a bad idea. Also, I think it's something that Zine should be able to template correctly. So we're gonna also make sure that Zine does the work, does correctly the work of templating this stuff. What else? Also, because it's not just me that could benefit from this, right? Like, for example, Zigtoberfest. Zigtoberfest is gonna be Saturday, 25th of October, 2025. Like, for example, Zigtoberfest maybe could use to have a similar feature for Zigtoberfest. Also, while we're on this topic, is anybody coming? Neurosite, are you finally going to give your talk? Or are you going to get sick this year as well? What's going to be your excuse this year, huh? Let's see. Hi, Loris. I recently started to try out Zig, and I'm really intrigued. Nice. Also heard about Zine and looking forward to try it out. My recommendation is to go to the official website and do exactly what the Get Started page tells you. which is download zine, make an empty directory, and then call zine init inside of it. This will generate a baseline website for you, and that way you can like it's kind of a quick way of getting started. And it gives you a blog, a dev log, a bunch of templating logic already made for you. So like it's a good way of getting started. And then make sure also to run zine, and then start editing with the local development server running. Oh no. Yeah. Guys, make sure, like, if you can, okay, I mean, site already knows, but for everybody else, if you can make it, do try to make it, because it's a very nice event. So first of all, it's free, which is kind of bonkers. Actually, I think that David should consider start charging people a little bit, because the last time we had like pretzels and Spezi and beer and all this stuff was coming out of his pockets. So I do think people should start paying, like, not even much, but like even just enough to cover those expenses at least. But in any case, that was nice. Then the location is a university, so it's like, it's not like a giga fancy location where you have, all the latest and greatest designer bullshit stuff for startups and whatnot. But it's very functional. The space is totally there. The setup allows you to listen to a talk, have chats with people, and it was overall a very good experience. So highly recommend it. I haven't applied yet to give a talk. I'm trying to think what to talk about. I kind of don't want to keep talking about zine forever, so I would like to see if I can find something else that might be interesting for people to listen about. In any case, Zigtoberfest Munich. Wait, let me try to pronounce this. Hochschule München. Something along those lines. In any case, come check it out. It's pretty fun. I am not located in Munich. I'm in northern Italy. So I'm not that far, not super close either. If I come, well, I will try really hard to come, but also please don't clip this out of context. But I will try to be there at the event. And what I usually do is that I go visit some friends in Stuttgart. And so then I stay there like, I don't know, 1 or 2 days before the event. And then we all go together to Munich that same day. Although I'm seeing that this year the event starts earlier in the day. Salzburg, nice. Starts earlier in the day, so I think it takes, what is it, 1 hour and a half from Stuttgart to Munich? Something like this. So we'll have to wake up either earlier in the morning or like even sleep in Munich. Well, I guess we'll find a way. In any case, like 3 hours or something. Yeah, you know what? It's been a while. Well, it's been a year, and we were listening to music and chatting. So, and I wasn't driving, so time for me was kind of going fast. Was that site made in Zine? Of course, all the best websites are. Yeah, I mean, you might also notice that some design elements are inspired from other pre-existing Zine websites, which is totally fine. Not a bad idea, actually. I also steal ideas all the time. Okay. I think it was less than 3 hours in my case. I also think that we were like going pretty fast. German highways and all. Okay, let's see. Introduction, basic grammar and conventions, formatting conventions, related memos, iCalendar object specification. Why that word? Why do you have to say object? God fucking damn it. 2009. The decade where everything was an object. Content lines, property parameters, property value data types. Okay, so this is like, let's see. I guess the type of things that you can specify at the invite level, and these are like the types of things that you can specify, like the type of values. Let's go take a look at the list. So alternate text representation, okay, common name, calendar user type, delegators, delegatees, what? Directory entry reference, inline encoding, format type, free, busy, time type. Language, group or list membership, participation status, recurrence identifier range, alarm trigger relationship, relationship type, participation role, RSVP expectation sent by, time zone identifier, value data types. Property value data types, binary, boolean, calendar user address, date time, duration, float, integer, period of time. The fuck, what's the difference between period of time and like duration? Well, I guess we'll find out, huh? Recurrence rule, text, time, URI, UTC offset. Okay. Calendar components, event, to do, journal, free busy, time zone, alarm, calendar properties, scale, method, product identifier version, component properties. Okay. I feel like we have an idea of what the basic stuff is. IANA considerations. Okay. Let's see. As a Canadian, I always find it a bit funny when Europeans describe things as being far. 3-hour drive won't even get me outside of my province. Yeah. Different scale around here. A 3-hour drive kind of gets you from side to side of Italy, like horizontal side. Vertically takes longer. But horizontally, well, you know what? Maybe let's say 4 hours. 4 hours gets you from the leftmost part of Italy to the rightmost part of Italy. So like westest to the eastest part of Italy. So yeah. Okay, let's see. The use of calendaring and scheduling has grown considerably in the last decade. Yes, dude. Okay, sure. We need calendars. Like, bro, you don't need this introduction. Like the fucking Mayans already proved that point. We're good. I'm sold on the idea. Let's go. Basic grammar and conventions. Keywords. Must not, required, shall not, should not, recommended, may, and optional in this document are to be interpreted as described in RFC5119. What? They like these are like all dependencies. Like I'm staring basically at a like npm like packages.json thing where there's like dependencies. God damn it. Okay. Formatting conventions of this thing or of the document. The elements defined in this memo are defined in prose. Many of the terms used to describe these are for common usage is different from the standard usage of this memo. Different than the standards usage of this memo. In order to reference within this memo elements of the calendaring and scheduling model, core object this memo, or interoperability protocol 2446 bis, iCalendar transport independent interoperability protocol. What? Check the trains if you leave home at 5:15. You can make it to the venue by. Yeah, no, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be with trains. It's gonna be. It's gonna be by car. Okay, more stuff like this. So let's see. Related memos, iCalendar object specification. The following sections define the details of a calendaring and scheduling core object specification. The calendaring and scheduling core object is a collection of calendaring and scheduling information. Typically, this information will consist of an calendar stream with one or more iCalendar objects. The body of the calendar object consists of a sequence of calendar properties and one or more calendar components. Section 2.1 define the content line format, property parameter format. Okay, content lines. Let's go. Oh, the calendar object is organized into individual lines of text called content lines. Content lines are delimited by a line break, which is a CRLF sequence. Delightful. Lines of text should not be longer than 75 octets. Why? Excluding the line break. Why? Long content lines should be split into a multiple line representations using a line folding technique. Why? That is, a long line can be split between any two characters by inserting a CRLF immediately followed by a single linear whitespace character. Wait a second. These motherfuckers invented... Well, no, it's not the same as Markdown. It's kind of like the inverse of Markdown. Like in Markdown, if you do new line and then you do space... Actually, I should put it's the other way around. It's space, and then new line. Then that's like breaking new line that will result in two different paragraphs in Markdown. While instead they put a space at the beginning of the new line. Any sequence of CRLF immediately followed by a single linear white space character is ignored. i.e. removed when processing the content type. For example, the line, this is a long description that exists on a long line, can be represented as, this is a... Wait, is this like extra space necessary? No. They just added it for like... They added it for dramatic effect. The process of moving from this folded multiple line representation to a single line representation is called unfolding. Unfolding is accomplished by removing CRLF and the linear white space character that immediately follows. Oh no, this space is the space between this word and this word. Oh no. When parsing a content line, the folded lines must, uppercase, first be unfolded according to the unfolding procedure described above. Note, it is possible for very simple implementations to generate improperly folded lines in the middle of a UTF-8 multi-octet sequence. No. For this reason, implementation need to unfold lines in such a way to properly restore the original sequence. Why are these people like this? Why are you like this? You're not helping anybody. You're not helping anybody with this shit. I bet you that some fucker at Microsoft knew that their tooling wouldn't support this stuff, wasn't able to support UTF-8 correctly. And so they bribed the authors of this RFC to poison it with this shit. I promise you, this is it's like House of Cards. Exactly the same as House of Cards. The content information associated with an iCalendar object is formatted using a syntax similar to what is defined by another RFC. That is, the content information consists of CRLF separated content lines. The following notation defines the lines of content in a calendar object. So content line is name, then semicolon, param, colon, what? Okay, I'm gonna skip this grammar and continue. Some properties and parameters allow a list of values. Values in a list of values must be separated by a comma character. There is no significance to the order of values in a list. For those parameter values, such as those that specify URI values that are specified in quoted strings, the individual quoted strings are separated by a comma character. Some property values are defined in terms of multiple parts. These structured property values must have their value parts separated by a semicolon character. So it's comma in the outer layer, semicolon in the inner layer. Some properties allow a list of parameters. Each parameter in a list of property parameters must be separated by a semicolon character. Wait, so semicolon also outside? What? Can I see some examples of this shit? Property parameters with values containing a colon character, a semicolon character, or a comma character. Oh, wait. Did I... Semicolon, comma. Oh, there's also colon at some point. Okay. Must be placed in quoted text. For example, in the following properties, a semicolon is used to separate property parameters from each other, and the comma character is used to separate property values in a value list. Okay, so attendee, semicolon, RSVP equals true, role equals request participant or something, colon, mail to, colon, something else. R date, semicolon, value equals date, colon. Oh, it's like value. It's like attendee, this is the key, and then the value is this, a collection of these things? Maybe? So here is our date, value equals date, and then a bunch of dates. Multiple values. Some properties defined in the iCalendar object can have multiple values. The general rule for recording multi-valued items is to simply create a new content line for each value, including the property name. However, it should be noted that some properties support encoding multiple values in a single property by separating values with a comma character, which is what we saw here. Individual property definitions should be consulted for determining whether a specific property allows multiple values and in which of those two forms. Multi-value properties must not be used to specify multiple language variants of the same value. Calendar applications should display all values. So far, I'm not in love with this RFC. I have to be honest. I don't know. Binary content. That's exactly what we were missing from this system. Right, so you can attach doc comments, doc files. Again, this is Microsoft bribing these people. Binary content information in an iCalendar object should be referenced using a URI within a property value. That is, the binary content information should be placed in an external, I don't know how you guys pronounce this, mime, I'll go with MIME. In an external MIME entity that can be referenced by a URI from within the iCalendar object. In applications where this is not feasible, binary content information can be included within iCalendar object, but only after first encoding it using base 64, defined in RFC something something. Inline binary content should only be used in applications whose special circumstances demand that an iCalendar object be expressed as a single entity. A property containing inline binary content information must specify the encoding property parameter. Binary content information placed external to the iCalendar object must be referenced by a uniform resource identifier. The following example specifies an attached property that references an attachment external to the iCalendar object. Yeah, this is a link, fine. I mean, so many words to say, like, so you can do it. Okay, it's just a fucking link, fine. And then this is like the version where you base 64 the stuff in it. Okay. Character set, property parameters. So character set, not super interesting. I'm just gonna UTF-8 everything, so whatever. Property can, and also I'm generating these files. I'm not like writing a calendar application. A property can have attributes with which it is associated. These property parameters contain meta information about the property or the property value. Property parameters are provided to specify such information as the location of an alternate text representation for a property value, the language of a text property value, the value type of a property value, or other attributes. Okay, let's see an example. Description, alt rep, CID colon part 1.001 at example.org. The fall 98 Wild Wizards Conference, -- Las Vegas. Wait a second. So now we're escaping the commas? Let me reread this sentence because this is funny. So property parameters values that contain colon, semicolon, or comma characters must be specified as a quoted string values. Okay, text values. Okay, so I'm guessing this is quoted because it has a colon in it. Property parameters must not contain the dequote character. So property parameter values the dequote character is used as a delimiter for the parameter values that contain restricted characters or URI text. Property parameters values that are not in double quoted strings are case insensitive. The general property parameters defined in this memo are defined by the following notation. Otherwise, it's a list. Yeah. But also, how did people come up with this evil, cursed shit? It did not have to be this way. It really did not have to be this way. It could have been, I don't know, almost anything else. Why did it have to be this way? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alternate text representation. Parameter name, altrep. Specify the alternate text representation for the property value. Definition, this property parameter is defined by the following notation. Altrep equals quote URI quote. This parameter specifies a URI that points to an alternate representation for a textual property value. A property specifying this parameter must also include a value that reflects the default representation of the text value. URI parameter value must be specified in a quoted string. Note, while there is no restriction imposed on URI schemes allowed for this parameter, content identifier, CID, HTTP, and HTTPS, there are URI schemes, are the URI schemes most commonly used by current implementations. But like, I'm in the example before, I'm not sure what the heck is this thing precisely like pointing at. It's unclear to me what this stuff is. What is URI pointing to? I don't know. Okay. Alter next lesson presentation. Alt rep. Example. Description alter CID part 3 dot message something sample example.com. Project XYZ review meeting will include the following agenda blah 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 items. The alpha property parameter value might point to a text HTML content portion. Oh, I see. It's the content ID of an email. Okay, CN. Specify the common name to be associated with the calendar user specified by the property. This parameter can be specified on properties with a call address value type. The parameter specifies the common name to be associated with the calendar user specified by the property. This parameter value is text. The parameter value can be used for display text to be associated with the calendar address specified by the property. So organizer, common name, John Smith, colon. And so after one colon, like this hierarchy of values is insane. So it's like this is already a key value pair, but then this thing also has, I don't know what to call them, like sub values, metadata. I don't know what to call it. In any case, so there's a colon, and so you know that after this colon, everything else is taken verbatim minus commas. Right, commas need to be escaped because then this would become a list of, I don't know what to call these things. They have a name like sub values. I don't remember. It's like the name doesn't mean anything to me though. In any case, so and then it's mailed to jssmith@example.com. Okay, calendar user type. Purpose to identify. Also, you know what? So I let me see if I can bring up Cloud. There we go. So I asked Claude to do this thing for me. So it generated this begin the calendar version pro ID method publish begin the event. So far we haven't seen any of these things. None of these was seen. We've seen this organizer semicolon cn equals zig community. So I guess this would become like either my name or something like that. And then colon separator and then mail to, that's like the mail URI basically. Okay, so far we've seen this, I believe. Everything else, not yet. Okay, CU type, calendar user type. To identify the type of calendar user specified by the property. This property parameter is defined by the following notation. Qt cute CU type param. CU type individual, group, resource, room, unknown, experimental name, IANA token. What? Default is individual. Yeah. This parameter can be specified on properties with a call address value type, like attendee, call address value type. The parameter identifies the type of calendar user specified by this property. It's not specified on if not specified on a property that allows this parameter, the default is individual. Applications must write X name and IANA token values. They don't recognize the same way as they would the unknown value. Do we have anything of this sort in here? Not really. I guess technically is organizer, right? Organizer is organizer that kind of thing that would support this? We don't know. It doesn't say. Oh, by the way, this parameter can be specified on properties with the call address value type, and this is a call address value type. So yes, in both cases, the value type is call address. So technically, we could basically say the organizer is an individual versus the organizer is a group or a room or something, I guess. Okay. I don't even know what the implication of that stuff is. Like, do calendar applications even do anything with that information? I bet you that I do not. Delegated from, to specify the calendar users that have delegated their participation to the calendar user specified by the property. Okay, let's skip this part. Delegated to, okay. There. To specify reference to a directory entry associated with the calendar user specified by the property. What? This parameter can be specified on properties with the call address value type. The parameter specifies a reference to the directory entry associated with the calendar user specified by this property. Huh? There. LDOP. ABC Industries. Okay. So we can skip this one. We're good. Encoding. We're good also with this one. FMT type. Specify the content type of a reference object. We don't care. Free busy time type. This parameter specifies the free or busy time type. The value free indicates that the time interval is free for scheduling. The value busy indicates that the time interval is busy because one or more events have been scheduled for that interval. The value busy and available indicates that the time interval is busy and that the interval cannot be scheduled. The value busy tentative indicates that the time interval is busy because one or more events have been tentatively scheduled for that interval. If not specified a property that allows this parameter, the default is busy. Language. Okay. Member, to specify the group or list membership of the calendar user specified by the property. Member. The parameter identifies the groups or list membership for the calendar user specified by the property. The parameter value is either a single calendar address in a quoted string or a comma separated list of calendar addresses. Also not interesting for me. Part stat. Specify the participation status for the calendar user specified by the property. Definition. This property parameter is defined by the following notation. Part stat. Needs action. Accepted. Declined. Tentative. Delegated. There is no... There's status confirmed. Well, I mean, to be fair, yes, this would be the kind of thing where people don't like RSVP to it. So I guess you just don't specify this thing. Attendee parsed declined. Oh, I guess this is like, this allows, I guess you put this information so that somebody can see the participation status of other people. Recurrence identifier range. To specify the effective range of recurrence instances from the instance specified by the recurrence identifier specified the property. What? By the way, I have to say one thing. Like, if you look at the structure of this sentence is kind of structured like the values in this RFC. It's like too many things on the same line. It's like... I feel like there's like a reflection in like the inner workings of the people who worked on this. It's reflected in the file format. To specify the effective range of occurrence instances of also, I guess this is also a typo. The effective range of recurrent instances from the instance specified by the recurrence identifier specified by the property. Okay. Alarm trigger relationship. Trigger off, start, trigger off, end. This parameter can be specified on properties that specify an alarm trigger with a duration value type. I don't know what that is. I don't think we need that. Rel type, we don't care. Role, chair, require participant, optional participant, non-participant. Okay. RSVP expectation. To specify whether there is an expectation of a favor of a reply from the calendar user specified in property value. Sent by calendar user that is acting on behalf of the calendar user specified by the property. Time zone identifier. TZID. Did we have that one in here? No. We did have time zone aware timestamps though. Also, why are these three values like start and end? I understand. The heck is this? Well, TZID, identifier for the time zone definition, time component, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Oh, interesting though. So, last modified timestamp. I see. That makes sense. I just read the title. Is Andrew joining later? He should. I don't know if he's up. Let's see. He messaged me actually. Okay. Maybe we should announce this also on Zigit. Okay, I announced it also on Zigit, so people should not be taken by surprise. So the fact that we can specify the TZID on these things is actually pretty good, because it means that we can Well, I don't know, do stuff. Also, are we looking at, yeah, we're looking at like, oh no, is this like year, month, and days? T? Oh, they're doing year, month, days, T, and then hours, minutes, and then seconds. While in this example, let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so I get it. So they don't really have well, there's a Z in here, so I'm guessing that the Z could be replaced maybe with like a time zone offset. But in any case, they have TZID, which is not bad. I think that TZID is something that we would want to add. Also, I'm noticing that there is, so we go immediately from the, I don't know what to call it, like the top level thing, and then we do colon. So the semicolon is only added if there's this thing. This file format is fucking cursed. You, like, I am sorry, but you have to be evil to come up with this thing. What the heck? The ZA property, TZID property parameter must not be applied to date properties and datetime or time properties whose time values are specified in UTC. The use of local time in a datetime or time value without the TZID property parameter is to be interpreted as floating time, regardless of the existence of V time zone calendar components in the iCalendar object. So there's also a V time zone. So here we have begin V event, begin V calendar. Okay. Then value. I don't know. I don't care. Binary, Boolean, cal address. Well, date, date time, date T time. Invalid time format. The form of date and time with UTC offset must not be used. For example, the following is not valid date time value. Okay. That actually is, that I understand why. Date with local time. The date with local time form is simply a date time value that does not contain the UTC designator, nor does it reference a time zone. At 11 p.m. Yeah. Daytime values of this type are said to be floating and are not bound to any time zone in particular. They are used to represent the same hour, minute, and second value regardless of which time zone is currently being observed. For example, an event can be defined that indicates that the individual will be busy from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day, no matter which time zone the person is in. In these cases, a local time can be specified. The recipient of an calendar object with a property value consisting of a local time without any relative time zone information should interpret the value as being fixed to whatever the time zone the attendee is at any given moment. This means that two attendees in different time zones receiving the same event definition as a floating time may be participating in the event at different actual times. Floating time should only be used where that is the reasonable behavior. In most cases, fixed time is desired. To properly communicate a fixed time in a property value, either UTC time or local time with time zone reference must be specified. Okay. And then you add a Z if you want UTC. Date with local time and time zone reference. TZID equals America, New York. Right. So this would be like, what was it? Like, it's omitting the top level thing, right? So this would be like DT start, semicolon, and then there would be this. Okay. Duration, don't care. float, integer, recur, don't care. I'm not doing like recurrent invites. I would care, I guess, if I ever decide to do that, but like I guess I'll take a look when that time comes. I think we're kind of mostly good. Okay, so now we're at the like high level structure. Yeah, I agree. I agree that this is a good design. I bet you though, I would bet you good money. Maybe not as good money as the amount of money that Microsoft used to bribe these people, but I would bet you that somebody tried to make them add support for that, and for some reason or another, they just couldn't pay enough. Hello, Andrew. Good morning. Okay, so Andrew, here's the plan. Let's do the setup, and yeah, and I don't know. Let's start in a few minutes. I was reading the iCalendar RFC. I don't know. You caught me gratifying my perverse kinks live on stream in front of everybody. But that's just how it is. Let me send you all the stuff to do the setup stuff. Okay, one sec. There we go. The example in 3.4 is all I need. Yeah, probably. I mean, it looks very similar to what good old Claude generated, right? Except unique ID, probably not a bad idea to add. Makes sense. Yeah. Transparency opaque. The fuck is this stuff? Yeah, in my case, I have the perfect unique identifier. It's the episode number. Okay, so okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna continue reading while Andrew does the stuff. So let's see. Calendaring core object is a collection of calendaring and scheduling information. So begin the calendar. One or more iCalendar objects. Begin the calendar, end the calendar. Product ID. Oh, they have a product ID also. Hack SW, handcal, no, non sgummel. What's a sgummel? Non sgummel. What if I want to sgummel my stuff? Begin the event, UID, timestamp, start, end, summary, name of the thing, I guess. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so Andrew is coming. So let me do the setup. Hey Andrew, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so I will screen share with you the stream basically, so you can have like the low delay version of it. Okay, you should be able to see it. Nice. Okay, in the meantime, I will also add you to OBS. So we're going to switch to this. 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 You should be... People should be able to hear you.
Hey, everyone. How's it going? ToggleBit. That's not my name.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a pretty slick setup you got there.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we're live. People, can you hear Andrew well? Can we have some feedback on the audio quality, volume, etc.? Sounds good. Oh my god, that feels so good to hear. Oh well, to read. Usually it's the opposite. Usually I only hear complaints about audio. Okay. So Andrew, have you ever read the RFC for iCalendar?
No, I'm impressed because time and date stuff scares me.
It's not that bad. I think that there's probably some like very nuanced stuff that I myself am not aware of, you know, like single second adjustment stuff, whatever. Like if I had to implement with my current knowledge, I would not be able to implement a datetime library, which is also why I'm leveraging Zeit by Rocco Rager. But once you understand the difference between like time zone offsets and time zones as locations, and you understand that locations provide you information that offsets do not provide you, once you have that, I think you're good when it comes to like creating like a calendar application. That said, let me tell you, this file format is fucking cursed. It did not have to be this weird. They have like,
of course, yeah,
2, 3, 4 different layers of like key value pairs
naturally, yeah,
that can be nested in a single line. And the first level, you have a semicolon that separates the two. The second level is a colon, and then you can have commas. And then for some values, it's hard to say, right? Because they kind of they are values from the perspective of the upper level key, but then they are keys for the lower level thing. In any case, some of these things need to be in quotes whenever they contain like a separator, like a comma or a colon. Some other ones you can't, and so you have to escape the comma by putting a slash in front of it. And then here's the most delicious part. The file format enforces a maximum line length.
What?
75 octets, bytes. And it doesn't end here. I think that somebody at Microsoft who had a very shitty implementation of this stuff in Outlook, probably, good old days of Outlook, not even Outlook Express. We're talking about like Outlook, period. This person probably didn't have a implementation that was able to separate code points correctly. And so the spec, they bribed who wrote the RFC. And the RFC says that if basically a code point, a UTF-8 code point, a multi-byte one, is broken up, like basically you can have the code point gets broken up, and because some of it fits in the line, some of it has to go on the next line, and then a CRLF plus space gets put in the middle, your implementation needs to be able to reconstruct the original code point.
No.
Yes.
Wow. So there's an ASCII stream in between the code points.
Mwah.
Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, this is an RFC, but like, we all know that these things didn't get specified before they got implemented. This is a post hoc specification.
This is so terrible, man. I don't know.
This is basically just documenting someone's shitty code in the form of an RFC, right?
Yeah. But I also feel like there's like an extra level of like evil in the mix, because it's like, why are you coming up with this like weirdo 3-4 level key value pair stuff on a single line, and then you're putting a 75 characters limit on the line? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
It doesn't make any sense.
Why? Oh man. So this definitely is. So the reason why I'm looking at this is because I plan to also add a calendar invites to the Zig.show website. And my plan is to generate these via the static site generator. So the idea is that every time there's an episode set to the future, then I also give you a link where you can download these delightful thing.
Pretty neat. Fun fact, getting rid of Google Calendar is like the last de-Googleification I need to do before I delete my account.
Oh. Right. So, yeah, that's a good question. One thing that I haven't learned yet is how does calendar subscription work? Because I believe that you should be able to, like, let's say that we have the ZSF calendar, right? Which admittedly we don't really use much, but we do use a little bit. I think you should be able to subscribe to that calendar even if you don't have a Google account, because I think it's an RSS-like thing. I haven't read the, I'm sure, delightful corresponding RFC yet, but I think that it's basically, an RSS type of thing. Maybe people in chat who have, already walked this path, who have been to hell and back, can provide more information. But yeah. Okay, so shall we? We
shall.
Okay, so I was reading yesterday the Arena Allocator implementation. So actually, let's start from the beginning. Also, you know what I should do that I forgot to do?
Real quick before we continue, though, your code is a little blurry on this display. I think that font size should be enough, but yeah, I think that'll be okay. Like, I can't really read the chat, for example.
Yeah, let me see if I can do something about this, because it shouldn't be this bad. Okay.
That got better somehow. I don't know what you did.
I increased the resolution.
Okay. Yeah, that looks much, much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I even doubled it, basically.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, thank you for letting me know. I never bothered to look into this, and yeah, it actually totally makes sense. Okay. So I should probably git pull, and build Zig. I haven't built it.
That's what you should do like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Sorry. Git pull.
Hey, the second best time to do it is now.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, we can take a look at the implementation and.
Yeah.
Okay.
You haven't pulled in a while, have you?
Yeah. Oh, well, but I'm sure that Brew is not gonna fail me, right?
I don't. Last I checked, they fucked up like the libc++ or something. Let's find out. There's some I'm predicting the error that you're about to get. So there's some
Okay.
problem where like if LLVM and Clang have different copies of libc++, then there's some LLVM bug that gets triggered. So we put in a little check to make sure that that's not the case. And then, of course, when they packaged those packages for Homebrew, they made that mistake. So the thing is, because the reason that Zig runs into it and other projects don't run into it is because other projects don't try to link both LLVM and Clang into the same binary. So other people don't experience the problem. But since Zig links both LLVM and Clang, the fact that LLVM has this bug means that you can't have different copies of libc++, and then the fact that Homebrew packaged it that way means that it's broken.
Mm-hmm. Yo, hey David.
Oh, David Sugar, I remember you. What's up?
Have you seen this, Andrew? This might not be for you, but
oh yeah. It seems like you had a great time last time. Look at that logo. Holy shit.
Yep. And I believe that the background is the Bavarian flag or something.
I love it.
Yep. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, this year is gonna be longer. I think the last year it was like only the afternoon. This year is like morning already. So I'm gonna need a new strategy to get to Munich in time. Okay. So in the meantime, while this stuff runs, I was looking at the implementation. Actually, I'm guessing you changed this. Did you?
I did, but it's
yeah. Okay.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's effectively the same code.
Yep. So okay, let's tell people what we're basically doing here. So the idea is this. There's this general idea that I think I understand, let's say from a user perspective, at least, where you have an arena locator, and then you would like to basically do something that is not a full reset of the arena, meaning right now you have an arena locator, you can pass it to a function, and then when the function is done, you can reset it. And so you can empty the full arena. But that has the downside that maybe what you want to do is you yourself have received the arena and you put some stuff in the arena. And so you want to pass your arena to another function and free anything that function has allocated in the meantime. But maybe you don't want to lose your own stuff. So I guess currently the solution is that what you can do is that if you have a GPA on hand, you can create a second arena from the GPA. Technically, you could create an arena on top of an arena, but I believe that the nesting is not particularly nice. Andrew, do you have any comments on that?
It would just be a little bit more overhead than is necessary if you handle the use case more directly.
Yeah. So,
and I think it would probably involve, just a little bit more wasted memory. So more chance to cross over that boundary and have to allocate more.
Mm-hmm. So the idea instead is have a concept of subarenas where basically you give a subarena to that function. And then once the function is done, you somehow reset the subarena. So that means that basically you reset your arena, not completely, but only like up to a point, kind of.
It's kind of like a watermark, right? You track a watermark, and then you give off the same arena to some other code, and then when it comes back, you restore back to that watermark.
Yes. And if the arena was just one chunk of memory, that would be trivial because you, literally keep around the usize and then you set the usize back and you're good. But our arenas grow, and more specifically, they grow as a list. So there's more nuance there. Also,
because the point is that you don't have to decide up front the maximum amount of memory you can store. So it starts off with just a little, and then if you exceed that, it gets a bigger one, and if you exceed that, it gets an even bigger one, and so on.
Yeah. And what else? Yeah, so I was reading the implementation because I've used arenas for a long time, and I realized, wait, I never read the implementation. I know how an arena would look like in a contiguous chunk of memory, but I never bothered to learn how our growing arenas work. And what I found interesting is to learn that reset retain capacity does not retain the full capacity. It retains some capacity, but not all of it.
Oh, really?
Yes, I believe so. Because since you have segmentation, I think it makes sense that you don't keep all the segments around, regardless.
Oh, yeah. So if you do a reset with retained capacity, it will free all of the allocations, and then it will make only one allocation with that amount of capacity, eliminating a bunch of overhead.
Yeah. Although, you know what? I'm not even sure it will guarantee that it keeps that size around. Maybe we can read the implementation, but
yeah, I mean, at least it's documented right there, right?
Yeah, let's see. This will preheat the arena for future allocations by allocating a large enough buffer for all previously done allocations. Okay, so it does seem to guarantee that. Preheating will speed up the allocation process by invoking the backing allocator less often than before. If reset is used in a loop, this means that after the biggest operation, no memory allocations are performed anymore. Yeah, so let's take a look at where this happens. So basically, I don't know, maybe I should draw this. But the idea is that you start with your arena starts with just one chunk of memory. Well, I guess it starts empty. Then it adds one chunk of memory, and you put some stuff in it. But let's say that then you want to put something that is bigger than what this space allows. And so what necessarily has to happen is that a new chunk is added to the linked list. And this chunk needs to be at least big enough to make space for this thing, which maybe, I don't know.
And it grows super linearly.
Yeah,
just like a list.
I don't know, like 2x. So we always double, I guess, or something like this.
It's like 1.5.
1.5. Okay. So then, as I understand, is that when you reset, you don't keep around all these chunks. What you want to do is basically free all of them except the last one, which is the biggest. And then I guess realloc gets called on it to be as big as all of these sizes that were freed in the meantime combined.
Yeah. And likely it's not able to be resized. So probably it has to find a new place in memory for that.
Yeah.
But then if that was if that capacity is your biggest capacity, from then on, you're going to be reusing the same chunk. You're not going to be.
Yeah. So here's successful resize, otherwise manual realloc.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we done here? Oh my God, Brew is not done yet.
Oh, wow.
It has to be
downloading a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. How do you then need a stack of watermarks as you return back?
So you keep the watermark data on the stack. So that will be your stack.
Yeah. The stack is the stack.
Exactly. Brew loves downloading the whole Netflix catalog before installing Tree.
Yeah.
That's good, Soap. Soapson, have you just been? I haven't interacted with you in like a year. Have you just been over there like refining your sense of humor, like a knife?
Okay, so what does the API look like then? You need an arena allocator not as an interface, right, but as an implementation.
Sorry.
I was thinking of like the API for creating subarenas.
Oh yeah. Let's sketch out like a simple program that will use this hypothetical API. Does that sound good?
I don't know, hx arena.zig.
Do we have any handy APIs in the standard library that want an arena, like a parser or something?
That asks for an arena. I cannot think of any, because they usually ask for an allocator
Ooh,
in general.
JSON
But you
stuff.
mean,
That's a good example.
yeah, JSON doesn't want an arena. JSON creates an arena, I believe. If you
Well,
ask,
so this would flip around that. Right. So like one pattern that you have now is you accept a general purpose allocator and you create an arena secretly.
yeah,
But then with this API, it opens up the possibility that maybe you do accept an arena instead of doing that.
yeah, which I think is not a bad idea. Like, you start accepting an arena as like a pointer to the concrete implementation, or actually, wait.
Well, there is one more thing
Hmm.
though. So there's two use cases here that I'm
Yeah,
getting mixed up. I just realized one is that the arena is used for long-term storage. So for example, in the parser, it creates an arena and then it allocates a bunch of stuff in there and then it keeps it around because only after you d'init that like JSON structure or something,
yeah,
then you can free everything.
yes.
So that's not the use case that we are talking about because we're talking about temporary allocations, right?
Yes. We're talking about something that you want to free more or less once that function returns. Although technically you could do the same also. But I guess the discriminant is linear usage, right? The point is that that data that you allocated has a linear lifetime that at some point ends. And it's not something that like gets referenced somewhere else, random places.
Yeah.
Needs to be kept alive for random amounts of time. But I guess we can just make something up.
Yeah, maybe that's the best way to go.
Yeah. And now we have to think also of, well, if we create a sub arena, so is sub arena another arena, or is it a separate type?
I think you're right. I think we would need a pointer to the concrete type if we want to do this pattern.
Yeah, and then the sub arena needs to be represented as a normal arena type, I think, or something.
There's no sub arena. It's just a watermark that you collect in the caller.
Okay. And then you have a function in the arena implementation to restore back to that watermark.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So you actually just pass it the same pointer. The same pointer is being passed around everywhere, and then it's a separate piece of data that you track.
understood. Okay. Honestly, this seems so much better than like secretly creating arenas all over the place.
Yeah, I have to say, like maybe I can think of a couple places I'd use this pattern, but I don't know how much my coding style will actually be able to take advantage of this. Lately, I've been using like mostly array lists and hash map and yeah. Maybe once it's available as a tool, then I'll see more nails sticking out.
Mm-hmm. Actually, arena, I'm gonna keep calling arena. Let's see. std.heap arena locator passing GPA. Okay.
Right, chat. What is something that you need a temporary scratch buffer for?
Temporary scratch buffer for?
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe we format a bunch of strings and then return a length or something.
when I'm building an AST. Well, I can give you like a one concrete example. Like, are you looking for just an example to put inside do stuff, or like are you
Yeah,
looking for a
exactly.
more concrete example? Okay. because I can actually, you know what, while we're what symbol not found. Oh no.
I don't know. I can't control Homebrew's libraries.
Reference
Wait, what?
from LLD.
Oh, I know. Actually, I know what happened here though. I think you need to delete your CMake and do it again because it's getting it has state, and so the fact that you tried it with 19, it still thinks it's trying to do 19.
I'm pretty sure I did reset build though.
Oh, really?
Sorry, LDB. There should be. Okay.
Oh, like straight up the LLD from your
What?
Homebrew doesn't work. There you go. Well, there you go. Like I
Okay.
said, they built it wrong.
Holy cow. Okay, so here's my solution to this problem. Yeah, here's what we do. We go into Zig.
Oh, that's a good example from BSS Start.
We fetch master. Okay.
Oh, and then we just start patching the standard library from there.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
369. There we go. Okay, so here we have the arena locator. I'm gonna close. Oh no, this is my example. Perfect. This I close. Okay, so we're gonna be able to yeah, patch and run this stuff. So it should be fine. Okay, what were we saying?
We were just trying to come up with ideas for the function. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. The TCP connect to host, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we can just make a couple of locations, right? And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then like we, I don't know, test that they don't exist or something. I don't know. So like
you can make an iCal format string.
yes, I guess I can. I guess. Well, wait, what's the line? So we were looking at the lines. By the way, in the end, honestly, the fastest way of getting this stuff off the ground is asking an LLM to make this stuff for you. It like reading the RFC helps, but like a good chunk of it can be done. Just this, like this.
Yeah, examples are just so effective at communicating.
Yeah.
Like a lot of information at once. Yeah. So nothing new in this function. You're just using the existing APIs that we already have.
Yeah. Is it alloc print or print alloc? I never remember. Alloc print. Nice. Allocator, arena, allocator. There we go.
And then what do we do with the end result? We're gonna print it or something?
I guess, I don't know, we can put it in a global to test something. I don't know whether it was freed. I don't know if this memory gets freed. Do we even need to test? Whatever. We just want an example, right? Just to make the
You know what we can do?
Hmm.
We can just return it from the final result from the function, and then the caller can use it until they're done with it, and then they can free it.
Yeah.
All at once. And then maybe just for fun, do like a couple more, right? So like alloc print the next line and then combine them in a third one.
Yeah. So we can do it like this. This is clean code. Oh man. Honestly, doing everything in one go felt so unclean. Now it's like we're properly
Well,
separating concerns.
you're gonna have to do this though when you have to escape the fuck out of everything though. Yeah.
and break lines.
Yeah. I mean that's my point, right? Like actually this is gonna be maybe a use case for this pattern.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, and then last one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. See, like, this is where you would like escape the semicolons or something. You know what I mean?
Wow. Delightful. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, concerns properly separated.
So then I think the usage code would just maybe like print the result and then reset the watermark and then I don't know, just do another allocation to prove that it works fine.
Yeah, so I guess we want to put something first, right? In
yeah. Yeah, and we can assert that the before and after are consecutive in memory.
Yeah. So the idea would be then that we somehow record the level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
So something. Yeah, go ahead. You can come up with it.
Mark. What would the function be called? I think.
Well, if you're calling it a mark, then how about mark?
Okay. I'm thinking that the arena might already have a function that actually does this. Does it not keep track of? It has, right, a number of... No, it has the end index, which I'm guessing is relative to the current node. But it has a function to provide you with the total query capacity.
That's different. I think actually, can you go back to that state structure? We might want to rename this and repurpose it because I think that is exactly the data that we need.
End index, you mean?
No. Okay, so that's not what we need. So let's think about this for a second. What information do you need to restore back to that mark?
The current total amount of allocated bytes. Is that not it?
Don't need that. Don't need that information.
Don't need that information?
Nope.
You mean a previous copy of state?
Don't need that. You already have it. You have arena. Oh, previous copy of state.
Well, I mean, I do have arena, but then it gets modified because I pass it down by pointer.
Right, but what gets modified, right? Because one of those fields from state does not get modified. One of them does.
One of them does not get modified?
So buffer list that's the head pointer of a linked list. That's not changing. The end
Well,
index is changing.
well, here's a question though. Um, what's our policy if the callee calls, for example, reset on the arena? Well, we're kind of fucked at that point. uh,
Oh,
yeah.
I wasn't even
So,
thinking about reset.
yeah, no, but in any case, that would be like breach of contract. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you can only call reset if you're the creator of the arena.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, okay, so yes, we can assume that this does not change. And index, but okay, I think we need to agree on what this does. My understanding, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but this is relative to the last node, is it not?
Hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is. Okay. So it's not enough to just save this value.
Right. Because we might need to also pop a node off of the list, or more than one.
Yes. So it's either the full capacity or this value plus the pointer of the current last node.
Right. Yeah.
And I think this
Which
is
actually,
yeah.
I realized is exactly this struct. Sorry. Because that's not the head. It's a singly linked list. That's the tail.
Yeah, it's the tail. Yes.
So that is actually exactly the information that we need to restore
Yes.
the state.
Technically, we could also make do with the total amount, but you would have to compute it both ways, and it's probably wasteful. Like you would have to compute it now, and then you would have to compute it later.
Oh yeah, we don't need to do any walking. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So actually, you can literally just say mark equals arena.state. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing that we're missing is basically like please forgive my verbiage, but a clean way of restoring the state instead of just brutally setting it. We just need to also walk back any potential exonode.
Because we already have a way to walk back and free everything. We just need a way to walk back and then stop when we get to that node.
Yeah. Okay, so here we set the mark, and then after that we call something like arena dot I guess restore.
Restore could be good, or shrink, or pop, something like that.
Pop.
Pop 2, shrink 2.
Shrink 2? Shrink? What does chat think? Shrink retain capacity.
It's not going to retain capacity, though.
This seems very similar to shrink retain capacity.
Shrink retain capacity is a property of array list.
Yeah. There's no... Arena doesn't support that.
Yeah, so the change that we're doing right now, it has the weakness that if you get unlucky, your function kind of crosses over, it straddles a boundary where it needs to allocate another piece of memory. It will free it, allocate it, free it, allocate it. It's unlikely because you'll probably be in the middle of a big one. But if you get unlucky, that could be a problem. But that's why you would use the reset. Like if you're in a loop, then that's why you'd want to use that reset capacity thing to get rid of those. Like if you'd ever had done reset retain capacity, then that problem goes away. You can't have that problem anymore.
I guess in theory we could also support it here. We could even say something like, well, it wouldn't be able to work with a realloc, but it would work with a tentative resize.
Well, you'd have that breach of contract problem, right? Because so the mark and shrink thing that you're doing right now, that would be legal to do in the sub function, right?
The sub function should be able to do the same in turn. Yes.
Yeah. But no one except for the owner of the whole thing, which is currently in main, can safely do the reset.
No. But what I'm saying is, you could do something like this. I don't know. Maybe not nice wording, but like try retaining retaining capacity. So the idea would be, in reset retain capacity, you can call realloc, because you can, since there's nothing in there anymore, you can take the chunk of memory and move it to make it big enough as it needs to be. In this case, you're not going to be able to always do this, but you can attempt.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, why would you ask for that though? We would just always do that, right?
Okay. Uh,
I guess there could be.
no, I would
Yeah,
argue that you're right. I would argue that it's probably something that you want to do pretty much every time.
I see your point. So you're saying when you shrink, um, it can remember the capacity that it used to have,
Yes.
and it can attempt to resize without moving
Yes.
the last node. Now that we know we're gonna need more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that way we basically mitigate the problem of uh, that you mentioned, like the food gun that you have. If you have this stuff in a loop, then it acts in a inefficient manner.
Well, the problem is that it's very likely to fail because uh, the fact that you had another node afterwards means that
Mhm.
you already tried to resize this one and it failed, right? So it means you will always be retrying a resize that had already failed before. In that case,
Yeah, let me think about it for a moment. You're probably right. Um,
well, there could be the other case though where no, that's right. Yeah. You'll always be retrying a resize that failed before.
yeah, because at this point we are at the tail node. No other node ever can exist. Then once we get inside, if there is any extra node was allocated inside, and it was allocated because we failed to because we failed to resize, so it has to happen. Yeah.
I think if you're trying to solve this problem, well, maybe we can do that as a follow up because there's some things we can try, but we can definitely have this API without trying to solve that problem.
Yeah, true. I guess
But
what you
another
could do.
idea, yeah,
Sorry,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you go.
You can go.
Okay. Then I guess you can keep the node. You don't free the node. You keep it connected to the list. Then you complicate the internal mechanism
Oh, I think yeah,
to
that's the
know that there's.
possibility. Or without change, yeah. So just changing the way that it works, we could just rework the data structure to account for this, and that would
Yeah.
be
In any case.
reasonable. Another
Um.
one would be that you don't try to finish using the buffer. You actually just uh pre-allocate the next one. Like if the capacity is big and if you know that the capacity exceeds the current node, then you toss away the extra capacity of this node and just allocate a bigger one already. Do you see what I mean?
Mhm.
So you would
Yeah.
waste memory and you would avoid straddling the boundary.
I see. That's also, yeah, interesting. Yeah. So
So my
the
point is there's a lot of things we can do. So let's try
mhm.
let's follow up with that
So
instead
just
of
to
trying to.
make sure I understood. So what you're suggesting is basically just not to just like silently grab a copy of the state, but do some kind of like prepare for generating a Subarena, which might imply pre-allocating a new node.
I mean, if we're trying to make this API future proof, maybe that's a good way to go. I think
Mhm.
for now, let's just get it working
Yeah.
with that because that's exactly the state that we need.
Mhm. Okay, so we were saying, um, well, you know what we can do also? We can also ask the arena for the amount of bytes before and after. That also can be done. And we can
Nice.
print that.
Sure. Yeah. And that just walks the whole thing, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah. I forget the name of that thing. Query capacity. Yeah. And like we put something before so that it's not 0, I guess. And then we don't even need after. Yeah, let's do it like this.
Well, I was going to say we could print the addresses of those allocations and
okay.
see if they're next to each other.
So size before, size after, these two should be the same. And then we do std debug.print.
It's a star, yeah. So, and we're expecting the second pointer to be what is that? 6 bytes after the first one.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Okay. So we basically need to implement shrink.
Mm-hmm.
Type is not a function. Oh,
dot
I'm
init.
dumb. Yep. Expected two arguments. Found one.
What's a U8?
Yeah. Expected type void found error out of memory. Yeah. Okay, getting there. Do stuff also needs a try. Value is ignored. Right. What do we do with the value? I don't know. Nothing for now. We'll think about it later.
Just print it.
Print it. Print it.
We got someone in the chat been messing with incremental compilation. Nice. Have you been doing it with for compile errors only, or have you been trying to do code gen too?
Oh, I can't do watch on run.
Yeah.
Can you go build XZ?
No.
No. Rip, we don't have build.zig, so we're stuck with this. But I mean, we're done fucking this stuff up though. So
yeah. Yeah, the way that that's gonna work is that you can pass incremental, and then it will not like it won't be watching, but it will save the compiler state to a file, so it'll just be able to pick up where it left off really quickly.
Yeah, the Xwin, just don't use using namespace. That's my suggestion. Andrew actually put it in to bait people. That it was a April Fool's keyword. No,
I put it in because I was coming from C, and that's how everything works in C. So I thought we needed it, but then as I got better at Zig, I realized it's completely unnecessary.
So if you use using namespace for convenience when like redirecting, re-exporting stuff, just do the manual work to re-export stuff manually. It's a bit annoying, but you just do it. If you're using it for like mixins, if you're doing mixins, man, yeah, now you're cured. Okay. So shrink. Okay, reset. Self. and then prev state, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess there's like two cases, right? Still in the same node, not at the same node anymore. Anywhere at the same node, it's just a matter of reassigning the value. Otherwise, we need to walk back and free at the same time. So I guess we always walk back, and then once we're done walking back, we're back. We're at the same tail that we were before. Then at that point, we do the number assignment. Okay, so
Well, keep in mind that this code already exists. It's just the dinit code, and we just have to kind of interrupt the dinit after the nodes match. You know what I mean?
Create capacity, the init.
I mean, that's it. It's that code right there, and then just stop when you get to the matching node.
Yeah. While changing this, make sure the reset is adjusted accordingly. So
Well, yeah, we'll look at reset in a moment. Yeah.
While IT node, yeah, we copy first the next node, then we say, even before that, we say if node is prev state dot. You know what? Also, wait. Because I think this is optional, right? First is optional, yeah, of course. So we need also to do this.
Wait, first. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait. What do you? It's literally this code, right? What do you mean?
I'm trying to. I need to set up the breaking condition, right? The early exit, and there's also a case where the previous state had no node associated.
Isn't it just replacing self.state with? Oh no, it is self.state.
If the previous.
Sorry, go ahead. I shouldn't interrupt you.
Okay, so I guess my point is, if the previous state didn't have any node allocated, then you have to treat it differently than if it did have a node. Does that make sense? Or do you think that that's also something that can be handled uniformly in here? In my mind, it needs a special case.
Wait, what was that? Did you already change that line? What was it before? If node equals prev state.
No, it was not there. It wasn't present.
Okay.
This is basically saying, we looking at our tail and then we walk back everything. But in our case, as we walk back, we want to do this, right? We want to say if node equals prev state dot buffer lease dot first, then we break.
I see.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is this guy is optional and this guy might be null.
Right. And if it's null, then
we basically want to do reset retain capacity.
Yeah, if it's null, then what are you doing? Like you just initialized the array list and then you're already trying to keep the watermark. It's basically just dinit, right? If you're saying do a reset. Yeah. You're way ahead of me. Yeah, you're way ahead of me.
Okay, so if
I agree, so a special case at the top, and then that's actually kind of a happy case because it can do that whole thing.
Yeah. Also, let's do this. Let's call it all the first. All first is prev state buffer lease dot first, or else self dot reset capacity.
What is the return value there?
Not of reset.
Yeah.
If it succeeded or not, which in our case, I guess we don't care. Actually, let me double check.
If it doesn't succeed, then what state changes happened?
The function will return whether the reset operation was successful or not. Right, because the realloc can fail.
All memory is released. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can ignore that then.
Yep. So all first, and then so now we do have all first. If node is the same as all first, we break. Otherwise,
and then we just have to set end index.
Wait, we're not updating we're not updating nodes, I think, because here, since we're freeing everything, we don't worry about updating fields, but we need to do that. So I guess we want to break with this node, or no, because it's the same. Right, it's the same as old first. So old first is a pointer to the same thing, so we're good.
The loop is about to free it, so we break just before it's about to
Yes.
free the hot one.
Yeah. So all first dot. First of all, what is it? Next? How does it work? No dot next. All first dot. Also, is all first the right type? Yes, it's gonna be the right type. Is it? I guess
So we just need to set the fields of self. Actually. Oh, I see what you're doing here too.
Yeah. We need to do that. The problem is that we need a pointer to that node, which we do have in all first. And then we need to do self dot state dot.
You want to assign both of those fields actually. So
and
state
index
equals.
Yes, you're right.
And I think it's just prev state, right?
You also right. Yes. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we just needed to make sure to do this bookkeeping because is it next? Or wait, it's single linked list. No, we don't need to do that either.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, it's because I know that this thing is not worrying about like leaving dirty state because it's freeing everything. So I in my mind I was thinking there might be something that needs to be adjusted, but no, it's like it's a linked list. It's singly linked, not doubly linked. So there is no prev, and next is gonna be next points at live memory. So yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it backwards too. Yeah. Sorry.
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Shrink is not marked pub. Well, fair. Size before 42, size after 42. Maybe we should also print size before the free, and I see 6 bytes difference. Yeah, I mean it wasn't super hard to be honest, but yeah. Let's see, organizer, try to do stuff. Yeah.
I guess we kind of got the lucky case though, right? So in this case, it's actually just it's not really going to go into that loop at all. It's gonna just adjust the end index, right?
Although we could like
could just grind a bunch of memory in here,
yes.
Just put some AI code in there,
Like, look, this code is actually AI quality if you think about
do
it.
some vibe allocations,
Yeah. I don't know if we went past that, but now we probably did.
Okay, so it got big. Yeah, if you want to double check, you could run with S. Oh wait, you're not on Linux, are you? Never mind.
No, I'm sorry. If I try that, my computer will deadlock.
I don't know how to S-trace on Mac. Sorry.
That's how you do it. No, I know how to S-trace on Mac. It's called dtrace. You can do it. The problem is that learning moment for Andrew, who isn't a Mac user, and people in chat.
Well, to be clear, I am a Mac user. I watch anime on my Mac.
Okay. So, okay, for people who don't know what S-trace is basically a thing that you run a program through S-trace, and that way you basically can see syscalls that the program makes. It's pretty handy. You know, if you ever had a program, you launch a program and you don't know, and like it can't find your config file, and you know, and you don't know where the heck to find that config file, S-trace can help you because it will show you where, if that program tried to open a file on disk and which file it tried to open on disk. And so now you can see, oh, look at this dumb, stupid fucking program trying to search for the config file in the wrong place or something. But yeah, it can show you syscalls in general, including memory allocation. So it can show you if you're calling malloc, virtual alloc or mmap. Yeah, mmap or whatever. Sorry, virtual alloc is not a thing because that's Windows. mmap. So macOS does have that thing too. It's called dtrace, which is a wrapper around dtrace. The problem is this: to enable dtrace to work, you need to disable certain system integrity security features. And I did that work. If you don't do it, it doesn't work. If you do it, here's the problem. Whenever your computer goes to sleep and then you wake it up from sleep, then some security feature will silently re-enable, not all of them, only some of them. And what happens is that if you try to run dtrace after a sleep, your system will just deadlock because the things that like error out are not enabled, but some other things will be enabled and your computer just deadlocks. If you reboot after rebooting, so if you don't sleep between after rebooting, then you can use dtrace and it works. So Mac moment, I guess.
I don't get it. Like, do these Apple engineers they don't use dtrace when they don't put their Mac to sleep, or?
That is a great question, right? That is certainly an interesting question. Also, somewhat related. I was trying to run macOS native tracing before trying Tracy. I can tell you, this thing that Apple gives you, like the time profiler, this thing is horrible in comparison to Tracy.
I thought you were going to say nice.
No, because I know that Mitchell was saying that some of these tools are nice, Hayes as well. I don't know. Maybe they know something that I don't know. But at least when it comes to the time profiler, no, this thing is ass. Let me see if I can show you something. It's like, so there's this thing. It's not clear how you zoom in. I basically need to access, I have a mouse, and with my mouse, I have no idea how to zoom. As far as I know, it's not possible. I have to reach for my trackpad and do the gesture, like the two finger pinch thing.
What?
Only that way I can resize this thing. And then
there's gotta be a better way.
And then down here, everything else, it's like, it's incomprehensible and crappy compared to Tracy. Like, Tracy was so intuitive the first time I opened it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what's in here. I don't know how to figure stuff out in this view. It's like just a horrible experience.
Well, I mean, that last one is a statement of ignorance, right? I mean, you're saying maybe you could learn and then you'd actually like it a lot.
I mean, the way I see it, it's like, if you're like, maybe you're used to, like, you make sculptures and like you have tools for carving, let's say wood sculpture. So you have tools for carving the wood. You have one of those things where the wood keeps spinning and like you carve it out as it spins. You have a bunch of specialized tools. And that's, to me, what Tracy feels like. And then, sure, I mean, if you're like knowledgeable enough, you could totally say, well, you know what? I can pull off the same thing, just a rock. It's like that's how it feels to me. It's like, sure, if I were to learn enough, I could probably make do with a rock, but it's still a rock.
That's funny.
Okay, so talking about rocks, here's my delightful debug printing. This is my poor man's tracing.
I think before you run it, let's predict. I
Oh
was gonna
shit!
say how many
Sorry. You should have asked me this while I was switching. Like you could have done this while I was still switching from QWERTY to Colimac. It's like now I have all the automatisms in my head.
I see. Right, and now you're fast. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, sorry.
Seems to be working.
Yeah, it's working, and we're actually looping a bunch. Yeah. So yeah, that's good.
So then the thing we were thinking about before is that if we were to put a loop around that code, we would be allocating and freeing many times.
Yeah. Also, I have a question though. Why are we segmenting this much? Can we really not find I don't know what 28K? What's that? Like 5 pages or something? 6 pages? Why can't we find 6 contiguous pages?
Well, maybe change the debug print from looping to put it in the allocation place and make it record how much it's mapping. So look for mmap or something like that, or backing allocator or whatever that is.
It's create node, I think. Create node.
Child allocator. Yeah, here we go. So right len. Yeah, print len. Yeah. So the question to you is, once we look at these amounts, tell me if you feel that a different growing strategy is better.
I don't think that a different growing strategy is necessarily better. My question is more like, are we not trying to resize first? Are we failing the resize?
I think we're trying to resize. Let's take a look at the code.
Yeah,
again.
and so then, I want to look at that in a moment. And then my next question is, why are we failing so much? Like, why is the memory so segmented?
Well, you're also using debug allocator, aren't you? Try using like page allocator or something.
Oh, instead. You're saying that debug allocator is just crappy at resizing? Like it refuses to resize?
I think that these are all still considered like small allocations, so it doesn't resize them.
That makes sense. You're right, because this is not an arena on top of pages. This is an arena on top of GPA. I think that's another interesting consideration to make.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's relevant to the thing we were talking about before, because if you were to put the whole thing in a loop and it was redoing those allocations again, actually what would end up happening is, well, the debug allocator would not be re-giving you your allocations, but the SMP allocator, for example, would just be handing you back the same memory that you just freed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Let me try the page allocator. So with the page allocator, I would expect to never allocate.
Check. Can you just double check that it is trying a resize? I just haven't looked at this.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Yes, I believe so, but yes, let's double check. Row resize. Oh, no,
okay,
this is reset. Wait, this is reset though. Let's do it in unlock. There we go. Unlock.
Okay.
Row resize. Okay. And if it fails, create node. Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to resize in place first. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's more like it. Yeah. That's what I would expect.
Shrink. Wasn't size after shrink supposed to be like? Oh, it still has the capacity. Right. That's capacity. That's not used amount.
Yeah, you're right.
It's still working. Look, because the pointer, it's still 6 bytes after the first one. So we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice, right? Because now the capacity
Yeah.
has grown.
So I was thinking, so in the past, I hadn't read the implementation of Arena. I never bothered thinking about it too much. Maybe I should have thought about it more. But so using Arena on top of the page allocator doesn't seem all that bad.
Oh, it's a good choice. Yeah. If you're making a command line program, a good choice would just be Arena allocator, page allocator, and then that's your entire. That's it. That's your entire
Yeah.
allocation strategy.
Okay, when would it be better to not do page allocator then?
As the backing of Arena.
Yes. Normal programs, like excluding, I don't know, like weird stuff, like, I don't know, WASM, for example.
Excluding WASM. If you only were going to do a couple, like a small number of allocations in your Arena, then if you're already using a general purpose allocator and your Arena only will be used a little bit, then it's probably better to combine those uses. Another thing you might try is just right now swap it out with SMP allocator as well. See how that one goes. You can just replace page with SMP.
It's called SMP allocator, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll get similar results here. Oh, no. Same thing. It's using the small. It doesn't want to mix up small and it doesn't want to make it doesn't want to resize small allocations.
Yeah. And this might not be true for everybody, but for example, in my case, oftentimes if I'm using an Arena, it's because I'm like composing paths together, temporary paths that I don't want to keep around forever. So I'm like probably my usage pattern is not exactly as like what I'm doing here, but not that different. Maybe I should change my arenas to be built on top of page allocator at this point.
I think if you have one that's the lifetime of the program,
yeah, I do.
That's a pretty good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a few. Like in Zine, what I have is like one arena for the main thread. Maybe I can show you. I think the code is like I think clear enough. So this is the main control flow. So I create an arena on GPA. I load the build information. So basically I load the config file and just prepare like this track that contains all the basic stuff that I will need to, that represents an entire build of the website. And then I'm gonna start by what is it that I'm doing here? I'm gonna add to a thread pool a job where I scan the what am I scanning here? Build variants. All right, this creates one variant and then scans the content directory, like the markdown directory. Then if I have a multi-language, like a multilingual website, I scan all the different directories in parallel. Then I scan templates. So I guess my point is, like, for example, scan templates, I pass in the arena, and then once I'm done with this stuff, I keep resetting the arena. I do reset retain capacity.
Well, that's pretty good because, yeah, I mean, that's also just setting the second time you reset, it's just setting an integer.
Yeah.
Probably.
Potentially. Yeah, it's not in a loop, so we don't know exactly how much memory is used around. But well, no, wait. Maybe. Let me think about it. The second time is only gonna be setting a number. Not really, right? Because I do lose some capacity. No, I don't, because it does get the node gets reallocated. Yeah, no, you're right. So yes, I will only be setting. I do have this property, But in any case, I think that all this stuff probably could improve just a tiny little bit if I put my arenas on top of a page allocator. Huh.
By the way,
Yeah.
I think a couple more tidbits here. So, number one, I think you're right that the shrink function that we just added is related to the reset retain capacity function
Mhm.
in the sense that so we built it as a partial dinit where it dinits but it stops when we get to that node.
Yeah.
And that's a valid implementation. But that's actually corresponding to what was the other enum tag in Arena Allocator next to retain capacity?
There's like one was free all and the other one was like max capacity, where you can specify a maximum capacity.
Gotcha. So basically, we implemented the free all variant of shrink, and by basing it on the dinit code and stopping in the middle, right? But we
Yeah.
could implement the retain capacity variant by um, copying the reset logic and stopping at that node. So then what we would try to do is try to resize the current node if we can. And if we fail that, then well, I guess we'd have to throw memory in the garbage, but you would basically just eagerly anticipate the rest of the capacity and
Mhm.
set that as your current node.
You know what? I also think that in any case, when you have a page allocator behind you, it's much more likely that you're not going to have a bunch of nodes. I don't know how true this is for like a more complex program.
Well, the other
But
tidbit has to do with usage. So in the example code that we wrote,
yeah,
notice how you passed an arena allocator to the to do stuff.
yeah,
Well, do stuff doesn't actually need that, right?
yeah.
Do
You're
stuff
right.
could just be given a regular allocator.
Yeah,
The reason that you would pass that pointer is in case do stuff itself wants to use mark.
yeah. I want to do a sub arena.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I guess here's another question. Then, would I be in these cases? Would I be better served by doing sub arenas instead of reset retain capacity? So, um, I guess there is one argument, which is I don't remember where. I don't think it was here, but somewhere else. So, by the way, I have this arena set up in two main places. One is this main control loop, main like control flow, where I have one arena that I pass to functions that want to do things synchronously. So these functions don't run on the thread pool. Like scan side assets happens in here. More specifically, what's happening right now and in a few other places is that we have scheduled a bunch of work on the thread pool, and instead of waiting for it right away, instead we do other stuff that I'm assuming is lightweight enough. Whether in this specific case these functions are lightweight enough, that is obviously like to be seen, but for now let's assume. So I do a bunch of other stuff, and at the end I wait for the worker pool to be done. So in here, what I'm doing is and then I pass an arena, and then I reset the arena every other time. The second place where I have an arena is in the pool. I called it worker, maybe I should have called it pool, but in any case, in here I have a bunch of different jobs, and I spawn a bunch of threads, and then the threads just keep pulling jobs from a queue. And each one of these threads, has a arena, which is not a thread local because I think it's in its main loop, I guess, in its main function. Worker function, yes. So each one of these guys has an arena, and every time it's done running a job, we reset the arena. So in this case, I think resetting the arena is 100% the right choice. There is no need for like more nuance than this. But in the main control function, I believe that at some point there are some things that I wish I could put in the arena, but also not reset, not lose, just because I'm passing the arena to a sub function. And I think in this case it might be from a perspective of functionality, sub arenas seem interesting, but I'm not sure if that's really a win performance wise.
It sounds like you're saying that scan site assets will produce artifacts that are longer lived than that reset that follows it. Is that what you're saying?
Um, no, it does, but it uses GPA for that, so that's fine. That's accounted for. Um, what I'm talking about is maybe um let me think of an example. Um, for example, loading the config file is basically parsing a JSON file. And I wish I could parse this JSON file and load it using an arena, using my arena. And then I wish I could pass that arena around without losing that CFG stuff. That said, it's also true that I could just create a separate arena for it. So, okay, sorry, I've been talking out loud. I guess my question at this point that I'm asking myself, which maybe I should have asked myself earlier, but is I'm realizing right now that I don't really have a good use case to present to you where I feel like I really would benefit from subarenas. I think it's a fine capability to have, but right now I just do not have a good use case for it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, on both counts. Yeah.
For longer lived, once you can't use a secondary instead of GPA, yeah, totally. Of course, you can do that. Yeah, all this stuff is totally possible. You could even argue that having that for the CFG, having an arena built on top of GPA could be more beneficial.
Yeah, because it could be small or it could be
Yeah,
large, so it's nice. And it's a separate lifetime, right? So the build, you want to be able to free the stuff inside build separately than
yeah,
the arena that's in scope, right? Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, also the only reason why I care about giving an arena to CFG is just so I can have um, clean runs in debug mode, so I can know that I'm not leaking memory. Because in release mode, I I really do not care.
Yeah, about leaking. Yeah.
Yeah, about leaking CFG. Which, by the way, I don't have this implemented right now. I think that Zine leaks memory no matter what. Although, like, how can I say? As far as I can tell, it's like good leakage, not bad leakage. It doesn't leak in a loop. I think, but would be nice to be able to test this.
I love good leakage. Uh yeah, I mean well, does Zine ever be long running? So
Yeah,
for example, it has a watch feature, right? Or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Um,
So you just want to make sure that nothing leaks in that loop, and then in my opinion, it's not really leaking then, right?
in that loop, you should. So basically, everything that goes inside build doesn't leak. Everything that I do in run, since I call run multiple times, shouldn't leak. But
Yeah.
CFG, which gets parsed before, that one leaks. So like if you run
Just
this in
gets parsed
Valgrind,
once.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like Valgrind complains basically if you run it in Valgrind.
I
But
mean,
yeah.
anything that leaks but has the lifetime of the program is a false positive leak check, right?
Yeah.
Like the only reason we ever free those is to satisfy our leak checking tools.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, exactly. Still, it's probably
Yeah,
not bad to have.
but that's why I like to have an arena that is the lifetime of the program, and then yeah, you just initialize that in main, and then anything that has the lifetime of the program goes in there, and then it's easy.
Um, yeah, that's a good point. Although I do have some um array lists. There's also another concept that I never really come up with a well-formed mental model for. I just vaguely know that it's bad, which is stuffing hash maps and array lists inside of an arena because they resize, and that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't cause the arena to grow, then it's fine. But
Mm,
yeah, there could be patterns that don't work out so well.
yeah. Let's see. Diamond is saying, so one use case for me would be in my game. I have a game system that uses the arena to do temporary per frame stuff. But there is one nested step that does a bunch of allocations and returns control to its parent. I would love to shrink the arena back after that step so that the size of the arena does not grow, and I have many instances of this. Yeah, it would make my max arena size from 1 gigabyte to probably around 512 megabytes. Yeah. And well, I guess technically you could create separate arenas for those things. Like every time you have one of those functions, you create a separate arena for it. The problem is that the separate arena, you can't just create it on the fly right there and now, right? That one that needs to survive basically the frame, because you need to be able to do rotating capacity on it, roughly speaking. Subarenas do give you the convenience of basically allowing you to do that in a more dynamic manner, because you're able to just create a subarena on, quote unquote, on the fly right there. Technically, if you involve, sorry.
Well, if like ignoring the work that we did today, if you actually just wrap an Zig arena allocator inside a Zig arena allocator, it's a bit of overhead, but it does work fine because as we looked, it does do the resize, and that resize will succeed on the backing out on the parent arena. The resize will succeed until it runs out. So I mean, they do compose. There's just a little bit of overhead there.
Yeah. So if you do arena page allocator, you try to bank on the fact that, man, on a 64-bit system, you should have some room ahead of you most of the time. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. Oh. G Wenzek. Is that Yugi Yam? So I don't think I ever saw a message from you, so that's why I'm asking. So let's see. I use Arena to store intermediary data for some algorithm, a competition graph for a compiler. Once the algorithm is done, I free the arena. Problem is that array list and hash map may trigger extra copy when growing, producing unexpected slowdowns. So I need to come up with a reasonable upper bound for each of those to avoid expensive growth. Yeah, I wonder if arenas could do a little more work to avoid this.
Oh yeah, the other thing that's relevant to what I was just saying is that the Zig arena allocator does free the last allocation. So if you wrap a arena with arena, and then you don't touch the parent one during that time, it will reclaim that memory.
It will reclaim that memory. Yeah,
and that's true for array list and hash map as well. The problem is if you create more than one object, if it's not the last allocation, then it will not be reused.
Yeah, I would argue that for hash maps and array lists in practice, at least in my usage, this doesn't really kick in much, because usually, at least in my case, when I stuff something in an array list, is something that I also just allocated. Yeah,
but it could be the case for a sub arena.
Yeah, but for a sub arena, that totally maps. So you could even argue that just by creating an arena on top of an arena, you get sub arenas for free.
Which might be the way to go, because then you don't have to pass in the pointer to the actual instance. You can keep doing the allocator interface.
Yeah. Man, this was such an interesting discussion. I feel like convinced that you don't need subarenas. You just need an arena. You just need to understand that it's not a bad idea to have your, like, let's say, serious arenas be based on page allocator instead of GPA. And then you leverage the fact that the last allocation does get freed. And so that way, if you do have truly linear usage, which you need to have with subarenas, then that way for subarenas to make sense in any case, so then that will work. I guess what changes like the failure mode. In one case, if you fail the linearity, you will fail to free memory that you were counting on being able to free potentially. While in the case of explicit subarenas, that's straight up UB. You're like because you end up like restoring a previous state of the arena where you free stuff that you shouldn't have freed. Assuming that, like, my point is that assuming that you mess up the linearity thing where you create a sub arena, but then you use the parent arena before resetting the sub arena. Cool. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that this API is not really all that nice. After doing the work,
not needed after all.
Yeah. May I retract my suggestion?
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's like the devil's in the details, isn't it? You know, it's like everything. When we talk about theory, certain things seem like the perfect idea, and then when we just get our hands dirty, sometimes it's just a little different.
You know what? Let me put it this way. I saw that C used it, and so I thought we would need it too. And then after using Zig a little bit with you now in pair programming, I learned that actually maybe we don't need to do the same thing as C.
Kind of like using namespace.
Exactly.
I see. Yeah, that one person was in the chat said something about groupthink, but I wasn't. It's funny because the argument could be used either way, like for or against it. So
wait, where's the groupthink stuff?
There was kind of like a little discussion about using namespace earlier, and I couldn't tell if this person seemed to be like not happy, but I couldn't tell like in favor of or against because the arguments would work the same way.
Okay, let's see.
A little higher.
Oh, even higher. Oh, Beferrel, thank you for the resub. Holy shit, I missed this. Oh my god. I'm not a good Twitch streamer.
Yeah, me either. I keep forgetting to raid everybody. There it is. Groupthink. Yeah. See, look at this. The groupthink on this issue is depressing. Making a decision and working backward to make excuses for it is actually bad. Are we criticizing the decision to delete using namespace, or are we criticizing the decision to have using namespace?
Settler, you need to clarify your position on this. The groupthink on this issue is depressing. Who has this groupthink? No, it has to be that the groupthink was like my take on mixins being bad. I would assume
that's the groupthink.
That's usually what's the. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure. I think Settler has to speak for themselves. I don't know, because honestly, there is a clear there are clearly two camps on this issue, right? You have the people that say, yeah, mixins cool, and you have the people that say, yeah, no, mixins not cool, and I don't know. Both groups do think something, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of useful features that are not in Zig to keep it simple.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get down to the full story. And you still feel good about SCD.io?
Yeah, definitely. I'm finally realizing my dream, you know? I thought I was going to have to give it up and just do stupid threads and blocking and stuff, but man. Yeah, having the ability to describe concurrent logic in a handy way. It's great.
Rocker Rager using features that I don't support in Bork. Oh, you know also what I wanted to do, Andrew? I'm not going to do it now with you here, but I will fix Bork links for you. I apologize. I never...
I saw that.
Yeah, that thing regressed a while ago, and I never bothered because I can just clickety-click and it works.
Oh, is that how I'm supposed to do that now? Okay.
Well, no, it's because it doesn't... Because you're still using was it Xterm, right?
Console, the
Yeah.
KDE one.
Oh,
Yeah.
console,
It's actually a
with a
pretty
K.
good,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good terminal actually.
Yeah, but it doesn't support the link escape codes. Or you know what? Either it does not support that, or for some reason you have a weird keybind and you're not able to pull up that feature. Although I think I was
No, I
looking at it.
think it was not wrapping correctly. Whatever that problem is.
Yeah, and the wrapping is exactly the OC8.
I see. Well, I think I finally got. So I reported the bug in KDE, and I think they finally fixed it. So next time I upgrade,
Mm-hmm. Oh, look
to
at
the
this.
next Plasma
Console since 2020 disabled by default.
disabled. Huh.
Apparently, you need to enable it.
Well, I'm not going to do that. Are you kidding me? I'm configured by terminal. What a joke.
What do you mean? You're using Linux. It's like
I've never configured a terminal in my life, and I don't intend to start now.
That's such an arbitrary line to draw. You're a Linux user. You love configuring things. You use
No,
Vim.
I love defaults.
Andrew, you use Vim.
I haven't touched my Vim config in years.
Incredible. I have no
Defaults are great.
idea.
I love defaults.
I have no idea where's the information about how to configure this thing.
Oh, wait, can we look at that mascot again real quick though?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, what's going on here? We got it's a dinosaur with a KDE like. Isn't that the armbands that they use to like mark the minorities that they're going to execute or something?
Kinda. There's also some like officials that have a band.
Gotcha.
So, like, yeah, I don't know. Still, also
then, like,
during Nazism. So yeah, I don't know. But also the K, I don't get. Is this like? Yeah, it is a dinosaur, but why does it have
lipstick?
Lipstick? No, I think it's just an open mouth with a tiny tooth.
Oh, I see. Nice.
Yeah,
I like it. I like the dinosaur.
But where's like the config reference? I'm console handbook. I guess it's in the handbook.
You don't need it because it's KDE. So you just open up the GUI and just click on stuff. It's nice.
Oh, then you have no excuses. Come on.
That's true. I could probably just check a box.
Click now.
All right, let me look actually. Okay, edit current settings. Configure console. I don't know. I'm already getting bored. I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost interest.
Okay. Well, in any case, I'll fix that command for you. But well, know that you're missing out because the clickety click stuff is nice.
Well, I was gonna say I will try Ghosty again because the reason I haven't been using it is that there's a bug in arguably the Linux kernel, or arguably just a bunch of like CPU monitors where they measure IO weight as CPU usage, even though IO weight is not CPU usage. And it's actually just what you end up doing if you're a pro and you use IOU ring. But no one uses IOU ring because they're all using garbage programming languages. But now all these Zig programs have showed up and they're like, let's use IOU ring. And so a bunch of Zig programs now, if you run them, it looks like they're using 100% CPU, even though they're not, because they're using IOU ring, and these tools are just showing IO weight as CPU usage. But I at least got a bug filed against the system tray CPU monitor plugin that I use. So once that gets upgraded, I'm not going to get that annoying bar showing up.
Right. So a few years from now, maybe. Well, because you don't know how many subsystems deep you have to go, right?
Yeah. It's not the kernel. It's just the it's a KDE thing. So they'll probably update it with the next. I mean, assuming it got backported, I think it did. Then next OS update, I should get it.
I see. Well, cool. So I think we did it. Well, sorry for doing this work and then throwing it away, but for me it was a learning experience.
It was a good stream. Yeah, that was nice.
I think that I might write a blog post about this because honestly, if you had asked me in the past, and you had to ask me, like point again at my head and say, okay, what do you build? What do you put your arena on? Page allocator or GPA? I would have said GPA 100%, like no matter what. But yeah, adding some tactical debug printing in the standard library shows that no, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, well, and then it is a trade-off. So keep in mind that if you were doing a release fast build, maybe you're using SMP allocator, those allocations will get reused, so they're not being wasted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Let me think if there's anything that I want to show you before we go, but I don't know. Yeah, I think this is it.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day as well. So we should schedule the Zig Showtime episode for the 2026 roadmap.
Roadmap. Okay, sounds
Yeah,
good.
we should also do that. So thank you all for hanging out. And let me see if there's anybody that we should raid. Anybody doing Zig? It has to be Zig. If it's not Zig, I'm not gonna raid.
People are asking me if I'm gonna do a stream tomorrow, and I haven't decided. Sorry. I think no. I think I got to take my car to the auto mechanic.
That could be a fun, live stream from your phone.
I see.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna sign off while you raid. So I'll see you.
Okay. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anybody doing Zig, so I think I'm all really gonna call it a day. So thank you all, and see you next time. Bye.